The New York Knicks were wise to get 3 NCAA tournament champions on their roster last year. With practice time so limited during the regular season, NBA coaches lament that they just don't have opportunities to run 2-hour sessions and drill the details of their offense into every player on the roster. And it makes sense that since relying on these 3 Wildcats got them their deepest playoff run in decades, why not add a 4th player from that program to unleash even more possibilities? Not only had they done that, but they might have laid down the blueprint for how teams will be assembled forevermore in the NBA. In the modern era, you need to have as much distance shooting as you can get, and it's not enough to have catch and shoot guys. No, you need wing players who can create their own shot off the bounce as well as advantages that set up others for open shots. Jalen Brunson is the engine, someone who doesn't need much in terms of complicated team actions to compromise a defense. He can jitterbug his way into the lane for all manner of clever footwork and finishing touch, and it would be normal to expect him to get ho-hum assists to whomever happened to be out there alongside him. But the Knicks front office sensed that they could get something special if they surrounded him with some familiar faces. Guys who developed their individual skills under a college coach who redefined the way we teach them. It didn't take long for Donte DiVincenzo to force head coach Tom Thibodeau to put him in the starting lineup. It's little things like this fake handoff, then kick for an open 3 that worked so well and didn't need to be drilled over and over. And something as simple as running get action in the open court belies a familiarity that comes from playing and winning together in college. It often felt like Donte could read Brunson's mind, cutting up behind him with perfect timing exactly when Brunson needed help and the shot clock expiring, and hitting a shot these guys have perfected, as we've been watching the handoff into 3-ball for DiVincenzo since his college days, converting these at a high rate, something that's quick and easy and doesn't require a ton of practice time to install. But when you include fake handoffs, suddenly you have the building blocks of an actual offense, all based on the natural chemistry of these two. And the fake handoffs aren't limited to just Brunson, as Donte knows the defense wants to key in on Brunson coming in bounds, so he fakes the pass and gets right to the rim for the strong finish on Embiid. But the real special sauce was the cutting. Oh, the cutting, as these types of plays rely on the kind of inner radar that only players with immense chemistry can pull off. Time after time, Brunson would find himself in the lane and more than one defender in his path, only to drop off a dime, sometimes without even looking, to the cutting DiVincenzo for easy bucket after easy bucket. This occurred so often last season that it was basically a play they could rely on every game to catch a sleeping defender on the weak side, mesmerized by Brunson's ball handling, only to be embarrassed when his man cut behind him along the baseline for another easy finish. Brunson seemed to have an innate sense where DiVincenzo was at all times, and had the complete confidence to give up the ball, knowing that DiVincenzo has serious hops that allows him to go up and over the rim protector trying to stop him. If the Knicks brass was wondering if all these plays were just flukes, Josh Hart got into the action as well. He just always seems to be in the right place at the right time, a rare quality few players have, and it's alongside his Villanova teammates where this talent shines the most. And it's not like Brunson is the only guy who throws these passes on the patented DiVincenzo baseline cut, as Hart finds him when Halliburton gets lost on the block. Instead of the typical spacing where Hart would just stand in the weak side corner, he breaks off that route when Brunson gets in the middle and gives him another no-look dandy for an easy lay-in. When all 3 Wildcats get involved, Tibbs can take a lot of credit for plays that look drawn up, but are probably just organic movements from 3 players who just know how to play the game. Like this semi-transition possession where DiVincenzo sees Hart in the corner and just continues his path to set the pin down while Brunson patiently waits for it to develop before hitting Hart for the wide-open 3. By now, you've probably seen the shot of Michael Finley taking away Luka's beer after winning the Western Conference Finals. And you might feel like you have to do this too or run the risk of a terrible next day. Not anymore. Z-Biotics is a pre-alcohol probiotic that produces an enzyme to break down the toxins in your gut that get created by drinking alcohol. Dehydration isn't why you feel lousy the next day, and if you drink Z-Biotics before you go out for drinks, you'll be amazed how well you feel the next morning. On Father's Day, I went out with my good buddies to a couple of bars, and I think you can tell from this picture we had a pretty good time. And the next day, I was up and at 'em for my usual 6 a.m. workout with none of the normal issues I have after having a number of drinks. 4th of July is right around the corner, so before you head out to your parties to celebrate, go to zbiotics.com/bballbreakdown or scan this QR code to get 15% off your first order when you use my code bballbreakdown at checkout. My code will also save you money on their subscription, so you're always prepared. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. In the regular season, this three-man lineup was their most played and posted a healthy plus 8.1 net rating. It didn't do nearly so well in the playoffs, which is another reason why the Knicks pulled off the trade that brought Mikal Bridges onto the scene. While DiVincenzo was a bit player and Bridges the seventh man coming in off the bench during their first title run, their roles were completely flipped when they won again in 2018. And let's examine the chemistry that Brunson had with Bridges back then to see if the same kind of plays we've seen with Hart and DiVincenzo were occurring, like this baseline cut off a Brunson post-up. And this should look very familiar as Brunson jump stops into the lane and Bridges has that same innate sense of timing that DiVincenzo has, with similar results. Remember, Brunson has made a big leap with his game since getting into the NBA, so he'll no doubt be able to create even more openings like this. And to bring in a guy who's comfortable making cuts like this means we're going to see all sorts of easy baskets next season. Just seeing the same kind of plays for Hart and DiVincenzo being made from college to the pros proves to me that plugging in Mikal Bridges means he too is going to exist in a similar fashion in their offense. And with Bridges' height and length, it adds a whole other dimension above the rim, as Nova liked to run this backdoor screen for a lob, and I'm sure Tibbs is going to add some version of this back screen to their offense. Looking at Bridges' play profile, he had to do a lot of ball handling in the pick and roll, and it simply isn't his strong suit as he ranks 46th out of 52 players with at least 300 of these types of possessions. But he'll now get slotted in behind Brunson and DiVincenzo, so he can get back to doing what he does so well, cutting. Last year, he cut less than 4% of the time, and he was very average at it on a team that wasn't intent on winning many games. Going back to his second season in Phoenix, he cut almost 15% of the time, which is extremely high for a forward, and was among the league leaders in efficiency. The last time he played alongside Brunson and DiVincenzo, he was cutting almost 7% of the time, and helping the offense get the kind of flow that Thibodeau is relying on this year. The Knicks were 7th in the league in offensive rating last year and improved upon that in the playoffs, which means that offense won't necessarily be the issue. And it's defense that the Knicks are getting in Bridges, a lockdown defender with a crazy wingspan and defensive mindset that is rare in this league. He's the perfect antidote to the Celtics' 5-out offense that wants to spread you out with elite shooting in every position. This puts them in an interesting situation where OG Anunoby is clearly a great fit alongside these guys, both with his cutting and off-ball movement and his ability to guard all 5 positions across the floor. Do they try and start all 4 Villanova guys? If so, that means Julius Randle is expendable, and I imagine there's a market for a 25-point double-double machine, since he just doesn't fit with the rest of the team, both from a chemistry standpoint and playing style. He'll default to isolation ball more often than not, but this team has one of those guys already, and Brunson has proven he can be the guy to carry a team into the playoffs. Despite clearing up cap room if they trade Randle, it doesn't mean they can use it to re-sign Hartenstein. His chemistry on this team was terrific, and hinged a lot on his passing ability and overall offensive threat, which is miles ahead of Mitchell Robinson. So unless Hartenstein is willing to take $16 million a year from the Knicks, when his market value will probably be at least $20 million, I suspect he won't be on the Knicks this fall. I really do hope they develop a small ball lineup with either Bridges or OG as a center, as I think this is where the league is going. And a lineup with the 4 Wildcats and OG would be impossible to guard and could also shut teams down on the defensive end. Either way, the Knicks made a spectacular win-now move, something that allows them to match up with defending champs, makes them deeper so perhaps Tibbs won't burn everyone out, and this team will continue to get deeper in the playoffs.